I started crying. I was like hyperventilating because I almost fucking got catapulted into the sky.
That's so scary. Another episode of the Pre-Ride Show brought to you by FSA. On the scene here in Emporia, Kansas, waiting for our next interview. Not sure if it's going to happen. Supposed to be waiting for, I think it's Kathy Pruitt, but we're kind of taking whoever we can get nowadays. And,
I made it.
There she is. Coming in hot as always.
Yeah, it's a hot day. All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Make sure the bike's safe. Put it up here.
Little pre-ride activity?
Yes.
Okay.
Just, staying busy.
All right.
The whole family's back together, and do you mind if I?
No, well,
banana?
whatever you got to do.
Wouldn't want someone to slip on it.
We're just glad you're here.
Thank you.
Kathy Pruitt joining us on the Pre-Ride Show. Stoked to have you.
Really stoked to be here.
What's going on these days? We're coming out of this post-pandemic funk. We're back doing the fun stuff we love to do. That's got to feel pretty good.
Everything feels good about everything not being funky anymore.
Right on.
It's been a weird last year, and I hope everybody's come out of it better. I know for myself, the last month has been super weird for me. Dad's been having some health issues, but he's doing much better now, and that definitely hit home.
Yeah.
For me in the year of COVID, and then people just getting sick. It's been really hard.
Yeah.
But having this positivity of this race happening and being here in this town, it's my first time here at Unbound, and seeing all these faces I recognize. It's been super fun, and I'm
all these faces that we've only seen in little squares on our computer screen.
I was hugging people today, and I'm just like, I haven't actually ever met you in real life in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
But it seems like I have.
Yeah.
We've met in person before.
Yeah.
But it almost would just be like, because all the Zoom calls and stuff, we know each other.
Yeah, we hit that hard stop, and everybody just went to their respective offices and bedrooms and wherever their home setup was.
Right, to not even have a mask on. How cool is that?
I know, it's the best, isn't it? Now, you've got a lot of experience on the dirt, but not necessarily gravel. Let's go back to the early part of your career.
Yeah.
You've got some world championship stripes in your background.
I do. I was a junior downhill world champion in 2000. And that was a super big highlight for me because it was only my second year of racing downhill. And I think that really set me off in the trajectory of just bikes are awesome. I'm good at this, and I like the people here. And there's just something about lining up at a start line on a motorcycle or mountain bike or gravel bike that just does it for me.
How old were you when you won that title?
16.
And how does a pre-16-year-old girl, young woman, get into downhill racing of all things? What prompted you? What was the inspiration to say, I want to go plunging down the hill as fast as I can on this massive bike?
Well, I don't know how everyone gets into it, but I definitely had really supportive parents. My mom taught my older sister how to ride motorcycles, for instance, and my dad took us to races every weekend. And I wanted to be like my older sister, and be fast at riding motorcycles. So that trajectory of learning how to ride a motorcycle and then having them kind of taken away from me just to do college sports maybe later, I asked if I could get a mountain bike and ride to track practice. And then of course I said, wait, there's probably cross country races, right? And so we went
if I can ride it, I can race it.
Yeah. Wait, is there a way to race this bike?
All I need is one other person and we got to race.
Exactly. I'm not competitive at all, especially not with ping pong. We went to a local race in Grant Ranch, which is in the Bay Area, California. And I then there saw downhill bikes for the first time in the back of a farmer's truck. They were loading them in and driving them up the hill. And I was like, that looks way more fun. I lost all my water bottles on this cross-country race. Yeah. And I just was like, they look cool. They just looked cool. They had, full face helmets on, like a motorcycle rider. And so I then asked later, I think it was probably 5 months later, could we go to Donner Ski Ranch? That's in Lake Tahoe. Mm-hmm. And that really was the start of downhill racing for me. My dad met a guy named Keith DeFreebury, who actually has built all of the slalom tracks at Sea Otter Classic. Mm-hmm. And he really just saw a talent in me. And he walked over to my dad, Glenn, and he's like, your girl, she's super fast. You should probably go to more races with her. And he didn't know. We're not from this world of bicycle riding at that point. He just saw that I was into it.
Right.
And he got an early retirement, and I really had my full support race team with him. We had a trailer. Santa Cruz Bicycles came on board. It was kind of a weird circumstance because we had both our bikes stolen out of the garage. that year. And so then I didn't have a mountain bike. And so we reached out to Santa Cruz through a connection with Keith. And they offered my dad a discount. So I got my first Santa Cruz Heckler.
Nice.
Back in like 97.
Okay.
Something like that. And I think having the right support system is going to help you every time. But also with support, if you're not driven and you're not actually into it, you're not going to go anywhere. And I have always been super passionate about being the best at something. Not everything, but biking's been my thing. And improving has been a big deal for me with gravel riding. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a lot harder for me, I think, gravel riding than downhill racing because I can't use my technical skills.
Okay.
You know, like I used to. This is like every day you have to do your training regimen and you have to watch your food.
A lot more, right.
There's a lot more things, but I'm older now. And so I feel like I can take it all in and try to figure it out.
Where do you keep the medal?
It's hanging up with the jersey in a, what are those display cases?
Nice.
But it's actually in a closet right now.
Oh, that's okay. It'll make its way on the wall one of these days.
Yeah.
So the transition from downhill back maybe into cross country and having to build more of an endurance engine, how has that been? And then you take that engine and have to transfer it into this longer format racing, 100 miles, 200 miles, whatever it is. How has that transition been for you?
You know, it's been pretty seamless. I just love being out on my bike. You know, that's really what started it, is through working at Canyon and then riding for Canyon, discovered road bikes in San Diego. And I had never been on a bike ride more than like 3 hours, you know, and on mountain bike rides, you don't ride that long.
Right.
You know, on road bikes, you can go for 5 hours and you're just sort of like rolling along and just like seeing things closer up and getting to go places and like see the bears running through the field, going places I never would go in a car.
Yeah.
The adventure of it, planning my routes and kind of not really certain if there's water or not. Just, it's been fun to be more self-reliant and use my like background in kind of survivalism, traveling the world and racing and applying it to gravel racing. And then the training has really ramped up ever since I got a coach.
Okay.
Which was
coaches will do that to you, right?
Ago.
They tend to really stretch you out.
So I have to give a huge thanks to Matt Freeman. He's at Carmichael Training Systems. Yep. Funny story about Carmichael Training Systems. I actually worked with them downhill racing.
Okay.
Yeah, way back when.
Is the coaching for a downhill racer just go fast, like point the bike downhill?
Yeah, it involves hula hooping, cornhole. Okay. No. No, I mean, I would do like 4 workouts a day, right? Like pump track, do weight, gym stuff, even run, like fast things. We didn't do a lot of long rides, sprint stuff. Yeah. You had to be bigger, more powerful rider, which I'm not super big, but.
Is the distance, this 200-mile distance, daunting to you? Okay.
Yeah. Like I said to you guys, I'm going to try to not look as nervous as I am. And I think one of my defaults about when I'm nervous is laughing. Everybody's
nervous. Just comes out in a different way.
Yeah, it's just insane, 200 miles, you know, with all these people in this town, in Kansas.
I know.
Like, you'd think 200 miles, where would I want to ride that? Like, Kansas is beautiful, but you'd think more maybe in the mountains or, you know, something like that.
But the beauty of gravel, though, is that where these events exist in places like this.
And I know I can get to that finish line. It's just a matter of the unknown of what's going to happen in that 200 miles. I couldn't possibly predict it.
Yeah. With that said, then, have you gotten any advice, counsel from other female riders, your friends and colleagues out there in the female side of the peloton?
Through the last probably 6 months, I've been asking a lot of questions, specifically to other females about nutrition. Mm-hmm. You know, I've asked my Canyon privateer teammate, Pete, some questions, but like his background's in world tour racing, you know, and I'm totally opposite. So some of his advice is super great, but he's trained his body to like do this exact thing his whole life. Yeah. So I'm listening to everyone's advice and I'm trying to figure out what works best for me. Amity's definitely given me some advice, like way back when, about the electrolyte tabs or BCA pills or something like that.
Clearly you took the advice and you jotted it down.
Yeah. Like, you know, and I almost have like too much nutrition with me. I'm really nervous I'm going to get gut rot. And that's, you know, for those that you don't know what that is, it's when you just put too much sugar in your stomach. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you went to the candy store and you ate way too much candy and then you feel like you're going to vomit. But you do that on your bike because that's like pure carbohydrate fuel. Right? And that's what you want. But, you know, your legs can feel great, but your stomach might
there are so many little things that all
Yeah.
go into having that perfect day. And even then, it doesn't go perfect, but it might end up well. You know, like,
perfection for everyone, like with gravel racing, I feel like it's not a thing. I hope it's not. I know in downhill racing, perfection was a thing, right? Like I could memorize every section
every
of that course.
corner, every turn.
Gravel
hit the mark.
racing, it's kind of like on a training day. You want to average what, you know, your average needs to be where you want it to be. But if stuff goes like broken wheels,
Yeah.
you know, or like broken body, like you don't want those things.
Yeah. Well, you focus on what you can control.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, a lot of times with this stuff, everything's out of your control. You can only prepare as much as you can, you know, and adapting to stuff that sucks is probably the best advice I can give to anybody. And yeah, you're going to probably be in a dark spot multiple times on rides like this.
Yeah.
But as Matt mentioned to me earlier this week, that's my coach, you're ready, you've done the work. So now you just have to ride.
Yep.
And that's really all you can do, right?
And you're going to do a great job at it. You're kicking off your season with a big event here. What other races are you planning for as we get moving forward through the summer?
Yeah, there's a lot of races that are all kind of showing up on the calendar now, and it's interesting. It's like you want to throw them all on there, but maybe that's too many. But I'm for sure doing the Oregon Trail Gravel Grinder. That's a 5-day stage race. I'm looking forward to that because I've never done multiple days on a gravel bike.
Okay.
And I'll be using the Canyon Grizzle there too, which I'm excited to ride. And then after that, I'm going to be going definitely to SBT. I'm going to be at a couple of the BWRs.
Great.
Hopefully Canada opens so we can do the Trans Rockies Gravel Royale. I'm waiting to hear if the Grinderos are happening, anxiously, because I'd love to go to Wales.
Yeah.
So then, you know, maybe the one in Australia or Japan. I'm trying to, you know, work in a fun trip with a Grindero.
It doesn't matter where the trip is. It's going to be fun if you're there because that's the type of energy you bring. We're proud of you.
Jim.
We're super excited for you. We know you're going to do great on Saturday. We can't wait to see you line up and make it happen.
Thank you. And then thank you to everybody else that's brought me to this point, the Flashpoint movement and all of our sponsors, Wahoo, WTV, Zip, SRAM, Thule, Canyon, Giro.
Love it.
I think I got you all. And good luck to everybody.
To recap, adapt to what sucks. And Dad, get better. We hope you're feeling better and back on top of things really soon. Kathy, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Pre-Ride Show. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click the little bell on the side. That way you get notified of all the new episodes that drop. Thanks for looking in.